What is going on over at Auburn? From a starting running back no longer on the team, a disappointing offense to Hugh Freeze's future. Locked On SEC starts right now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. It's great to have you guys along. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. And reminder, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Now on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network, broadcasting daily across Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And, of course, on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDONCollege, get $20 off your first purchase. All right, let's dive into it. We got some big news going on around the conference, and we start over at Auburn as Hugh Freeze announced the dismissal of starting running back Damari Alston yesterday. Senior running back and team captain no longer with the Tigers. Hugh Freeze announcing Monday, quote, Damari failed to meet the expectations and standards of our program. We love him. We wish him the best, but that's where it's at. Alston has appeared in 4 games this season, rushing 32 times for 128 yards and a touchdown. Most of that came in the opener against Baylor, where he had 16 carries, but playing time decreased a little bit these last couple weeks. He was Auburn's starting running back at the beginning of the season. Like we said, was voted a team captain, and a shoulder injury kept him out of Auburn's next couple of games. Saw the majority of the carries start to go to Jeremiah Cobb once SEC play started. His departure makes Auburn's running back room even more thin, because we know Darrell Robinson's still recovering from a serious thigh injury, and true freshman Omar Mabson, as well as true freshman Alvin Henderson, former walk-on Justin Jones, would be their only other healthy scholarship running backs. Freeze repeatedly praised Alston's leadership and work ethic over the years. Riding this 3-game losing streak, they next host number 16 Mizzou, then at Arkansas, home for Kentucky, at number 17 Vandy, home for Mercer, and home for number 6 Bama. So it's manageable if they can get this offense going. We'll talk more with Zac Blackerby in a few minutes on what is realistic for Auburn the next few weeks. But more on this Damari Alston thing, Justin Hokanson over at On3 had this to say about what he found out digging into the story. He said Alston met with Hugh Freeze and Derek Nix on Sunday. He told them since he hasn't been playing much, and this is his senior year, and he's played in 4 games, he would like to redshirt, meaning he would sit out the rest of this season and save another year of eligibility. He said he would still go to every practice, he would lift weights, even help out on the scout team. So in his mind, he's not quitting the team. Freeze and Nix were not happy with this decision. They tried to talk him out of it, talked about his legacy, his teammates, how much the team needed him. Again, this is from Justin Hokanson. Apparently Sunday night, Freeze told Alston to think about it overnight, said if he still wanted to redshirt, he might allow it. But by Monday morning, Hugh Freeze changed his mind. He told Alston he couldn't let him redshirt after all, and that people from Auburn's collective, the NIL group, that of course gets players paid, would be in touch. And when the collective reached out, they told Damari Alston if he, quote, quits the team, he'll owe Auburn money. Alston said he never quit. He said he told the coaches he still wants to be around the team and help, just not play. He wants to keep his redshirt year. He doesn't think he should owe anything. So the word quit seems to be the big part of the issue here. Hugh Freeze didn't use that word when he talked about Alston, but that's how it's being framed from Auburn's side. Alston disagrees. Of course, at Monday's presser, Hugh Freeze said Alston had, quote, failed to meet the standards of the program, would no longer be on the team. So from Justin Hokanson's report, he said basically it's 2 sides. Auburn's view is saying Damari Alston's quitting on the team. Alston's saying, look, I just want a red shirt. I'll stay involved, not quitting the team. I'll still be around. I'll help out any way I can. So just a messy situation here. And this is where the NIL age changes things, right? Because it's like if you're going to get paid, you got to keep playing and be part of the team. He's saying, I'll be part of the team. I'm just not going to play in games. So sticky situation, and just another example of how messy things have just gotten there at Auburn under Hugh Freeze. If they're winning games, I bet Damari Alston's still playing and probably pretty happy. And Auburn could be undefeated and in the playoff picture if they could have had a little bit more offense these last couple of weeks. We'll talk with Zac Blackerby more on the Hugh Freeze situation coming up in just a couple of minutes. Other news and notes going on around the conference. How about Ty Simpson? A nice week for him in week 7. He headlines the SEC Players of the Week. Ty Simpson earning SEC Offensive Player of the Week honors after leading Crimson Tide to a win on the road at Mizzou. Defensively, Texas's Malik Muhammad took home the Defensive Player of the Week honors with 2 interceptions in the win over Oklahoma. Special teams went to Texas's Ryan Niblett and Tennessee kicker Max Gilbert. Niblett had a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown late in the Red River rivalry. And Gilbert was a perfect 2 for 2 on field goals, including a 50-yarder for the Vols to beat Arkansas. Georgia's Monroe Freeling, Texas's Colin Simmons, and Texas A&M's Deion Hayes, as well as Tennessee freshman receiver Breon Staley, rounded out the honorees of the SEC Players of the Week. Other news going on around the conference. How about Arch Manning speaking with the media on Monday? He was asked about the article that came out a couple days ago in The Athletic that basically called him a flop. He said, quote, "I wasn't playing well, and I'm going to continue to get better. Everyone has their opinion. That's what's good about America. You get freedom of speech. It doesn't bother me. As for blocking out outside noise," Arch said, "I try to do it my best. And you get 100 text messages saying, keep blocking out the noise." And I think, wow, there must be a lot of noise out there. So I think at least hearing some of the quotes from Arch throughout this season, he's kept it pretty level-headed. He knows he's not lived up to the hype that people maybe even unfairly built up because of his last name. But kid seems to get it, and he's carrying the right attitude. And look, they got a big win over Oklahoma. Let's see if Texas can keep stacking wins the rest of the season. Other SEC news over at LSU, Brian Kelly offering an update on Garrett Nussmeier's injury, saying Nussmeier's been dealing with an injury to his torso throughout the season, but coming out of the win over South Carolina, Kelly said that he liked the look of Nussmeier's throws in the game. He said he felt coming out of the bye week that quarterback is as healthy as he's been. He said all those things are part of it, but the bottom line is he was healthy. I mentioned to you that we have the ball that has the GPS in it, and his numbers were up velocity-wise from any other time during the week. He said his ab injury is on the right side of where he feels good. Didn't have any pain on Sunday coming in, so that's a really, really good sign for us moving forward. Kelly did reveal Nussmeier had a slight ankle sprain in this game, but says he's going to be fine moving forward, so keep an eye on that. Over at South Carolina, they're licking their wounds after their tough loss. Cole Kublik put out this stat about Lenore Sellers, saying that he finished versus LSU with 19 yards rushing on 22 attempts, but his total distance traveled during the game was 894 yards, according to Teamworks. So that speaks to how much LSU had to work to bring him down throughout the night. A big one this Saturday as South Carolina hosts number 14 Oklahoma. Both teams coming off a loss, need a win very badly. And a quick basketball nugget here. Florida tops the SEC preseason basketball poll. If you guys didn't see that, that came out yesterday. Florida predicted to finish first in the SEC, followed by Kentucky, number 2, Tennessee, number 3, Alabama, number 4, Arkansas, 5, Auburn, 6. So there is your predicted order of finish. One other thought here. If you guys missed it a couple days ago, with the polls coming out on Sunday, just take a look at the 8 people. Ohio State came in at number 1, Miami number 2, Indiana number 3. Somebody pointed this out on social media. I had to go double check. All 3, the number 1, number 2, number 3 teams in these rankings are not scheduled to play a ranked team the rest of the season. Ohio State, Wisconsin, Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, Michigan. Miami plays Louisville, Stanford, SMU, Syracuse, NC State, Vodtech, and Pittsburgh. And Indiana plays Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Purdue. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. So now look, part is, Penn State's on both Ohio State and Indiana schedules. They were preseason top 2, but they didn't live up to the hype. They lost 3 in a row. They fired James Franklin. Drew Aller's done for the season. So that game has no chance of becoming ranked. Maybe one of these teams jumps back into the top 25 when they get to it. But it's just amazing when you look at what some of the other SEC teams have remaining on their schedules. I mean, go look at Oklahoma's remaining schedule. It's an absolute joke how many ranked teams they have to play. So I say this all the time. It's just people love to hate on the SEC. It is different. It is different than every other conference because when you look at, Indiana's schedule, they had to get up for 2 games. 2 games. They played Illinois, who was number 9 when they played them. Granted, they beat the hell out of them. Good job. And then they beat top 5 Oregon this past weekend in their house. Awesome win. But now you get to sit on your back porch and smoke a cigar the rest of the season. Enjoy a nice cocktail. Meanwhile, the SEC's got to go to work against top 25 team after top 25 team week in and week out. We are not the same. We are created different. The SEC compared to these other weaker conferences. And that's just the gist of it. One more tidbit here. If you guys missed it, Gameday did announce they're heading to Athens for Ole Miss, Georgia this weekend. And some people were upset. One guy said BYU is 6-0 and Utah's 5-1. You think you get some national notoriety for that one? Perhaps Gameday. I miss the old days of highlighting all of college football instead of just the SEC and the Big Ten. It is worth noting Big Noon Kickoff is heading to that game. And then another one said they just need to rebrand SEC Gameday because basically they're always going to, to all these SEC venues. Chris Marler, our buddy, pointed out, yeah, they were at Oregon this past Saturday. They were at Penn State 2 weeks ago. They were at Miami the week before that, and they opened the season at Ohio State. Come on. The thinking of the SEC bias is ridiculous. And then Will Compton put out there, the highest ranked one-loss teams in the country right now are number 6 Alabama, number 8 Oregon. Alabama's loss was to a 3-3 Florida State team that's not ranked, and Oregon's loss was to an undefeated Indiana that's number 3 in the country. Clint Lamb pointing out, definitely because they're in the SEC is why they're ranked higher, not because they have 3 ranked wins, 2 on the road against number 9, number 16, and number 17, while Oregon's wins have come against an FCS opponent and teams with a combined 8-17 record. This is what I always say about resume. We always look to losses first. Look to wins. Who have you beaten is the line I always say. Who have you beaten? If you've got 3 resume wins on your schedule, that is better than the team that didn't beat anybody worth a damn. But again, that's where the committee got into this thing last year. We're like, well, Indiana's 11-1. They didn't beat any top 25 opponents, but they're 11-1. What about a team that's 9-3 but has 4 or 5 top 25 wins? How do you not give them more credit for the big wins over just saying, well, we don't care who you beat, just win? Okay, then everybody should just start scheduling weak-ass opponents because it's absolutely ridiculous. All right, more to come here on Locked On SEC, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Hey, the holidays are going to be here before you know it, which is exciting, but getting your home ready for guests and celebrations can feel like a lot. Maybe your serveware needs a refresh, or the guest room could use new bedding. Wayfair, they have everything you need to get your home holiday ready, from Christmas trees and wreaths to bedding, cookware, outdoor inflatables. It is your one-stop shop for every room in the house. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home for the holidays with a huge selection for every style and budget. And with free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff, you get everything you need without the hassle of huge delivery fees. Look, you're going to love all the holiday decor they've got to offer there for you at Wayfair. The delivery is fast and free, which will be a lifesaver during this busy time of year. Get organized, refreshed, and ready for the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. This episode also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The NFL season, of course, in the thick of it, and FanDuel still offering that great offer you do not want to miss right now. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, you put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And they've got all the big SEC games happening this weekend up there right now. If you like Georgia as the home favorite against Ole Miss, you like Ole Miss to pull off the upset. Maybe like Mississippi State to get into a dogfight with the Gators down in the swamp. Can Kentucky cover at home against Texas? They have got all those games up there for you right now at FanDuel.com. Whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com. Download the FanDuel app today and get started. It is FanDuel.com. Run along here, Locked On SEC, and man, I wish there would be a time that we could get our buddy Zac Blackerby on to have some good things to talk about with Auburn. Feels like every time we have Zac on, there's something bad going on. But welcome in Zac Blackerby, host of Locked On Auburn, to the show. As Zac, man, Auburn, they're this close. I've never seen a team this close to having wins last year and this year, but just can't get over the hump. What's the vibe as Auburn drops to 0-3 in the SEC, for the third straight year under Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, Auburn's never started 0-3 in conference play for 3 years in a row in the history of the program, and that is sadly all we know under Hugh Freeze right now. No, I mean, the messaging's the same, right? Like you said, oh, it's so close. So many close losses over and over and over again. And at some point, you got to step back and say, like, man, maybe we're not unlucky. Maybe this is who you are under Hugh Freeze. And I think that's where most of the Auburn fan base is, as far as like checking the temperature of where they're at. I said this on yesterday's show, Gordy. Like, you run into other Auburn fans, you want to talk about the program and you want to talk about the Georgia game, and it's like you engage in the conversation and everybody just stops because nobody really knows what to say. It's sad, it's heartbreaking, and I mean, until changes are made, I think this is exactly what you're going to get for the foreseeable future.
Well, let's go back to the game real quick, if we could. The loss to Georgia, because
sure.
I mean, look, the Auburn has been jobbed by the referees many times over the years. Most notably at Oklahoma earlier this year with the play that they came out and said, "Yeah, we know that was a touchdown. It shouldn't have been, but oh well. Sorry, you guys lost. Here's an apology letter." But for this one, where it looked like Jackson Arnold broke the plane of the end zone, even the commentators agreed. They don't. A massive moment in the game. I feel like, Zach, if they punch it in and go 17-0 on Georgia, I feel like Auburn wins that football game. What say you?
Maybe. I definitely think the chances are much better for sure. I think with this defense, it puts you in a much different spot because look, anytime something bad happens to this team, they just fold. They just fall apart. Any sort of adversity, Jackson Arnold just can't match it. He can't overcome it. And to some extent, Hugh Freeze. So when that happened, and then I don't know, I'm really not like blame the refs guy, but I don't think that's why Auburn lost. I think it's more of a culture thing of when something bad happens, there's no counterpunch to anything. But if we want to blame the refs, I think what happened after that is more egregious, honestly. What Georgia got the ball with like a minute and a half, and the clock stopped after every snap. There was like a stoppage every play after that for them to go down and get a field goal. The roughing the passer, I think, was a joke on that following drive on Amaris Williams. I don't know what else he's supposed to do in that situation. The K and Lee targeting, I get it, but then they don't even review a worse hit by Georgia on Auburn's tight end in the second half. Auburn even called a timeout to review it. But look, I don't want to get on here to complain about the refs. I'm just answering your question. Like, was it a poorly called game? Was it called fairly? No, it wasn't. And the whole like Kirby clapping but not calling a timeout, I mean, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. But that's not why Auburn lost this game. Auburn lost this game because they weren't prepared. They can't score in the second half. And in the 3 SEC games so far this season, Auburn has scored 14 points in the second half. And one of those was a 2-yard drive against A&M because the Auburn defense set them up in that situation. That's awful. When you went out and you retained Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons, and you bring in Eric Singleton Jr., and you've got this rebuilt offensive line, and you have a head coach who's the quarterback guru, who's known for his play calling. Can't have that, Gordy. You can't have that at this point in year 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the award that goes to the best coaching assistant? Broyles Award. I feel like DJ Durkin should absolutely be a finalist for the Broyles Award because his
Incredible
defense
job.
has been phenomenal. They've been outstanding. They've given you every chance to be in these games and win these games. The offense is not living up to its part. And part of it, Zach, is look, the last 2 years, I've put a lot of blame on Peyton Thorne. I said, well, maybe he's just not the guy. And Hugh Freeze made a big mistake sticking with him a second year. But okay, it's water under the bridge. It's gone now. You go out and pay big money for Jackson Arnold to get him from Oklahoma, a formerly very high recruit.
Yeah.
And it looks more, and you've got better wide receivers now than you had the last 2 years, but it looks more of the same. So why is this, Zach? Is it play calling on you? Is it, I mean, I don't know where to put the blame.
I've had so many former players reach out to me this year, and a lot of it's like, you see why we left now? I'm like, oh, all right. All right. I mean, all the quarterbacks that were in his room last year left. Like, I think that says something. It makes me look at Peyton Thorne differently and second guess a lot of the stuff I said about Peyton Thorne and how this fan base treated Peyton Thorne. I think it gives me some pause there for sure. On the other side of it, there's a chance that they're both just bad, and Hugh Freeze can't evaluate quarterbacks anymore. That's also a realistic option. But I think it's more of a plan. Like, there are several quarterbacks in the SEC even, but definitely throughout college football, that are limited or have glaring weaknesses, but their offensive coaching staff, they have plans for them. I mean, I look at Marcel Reed. I'm a Marcel Reed guy. I am a Marcel Reed truther over at Texas A&M. But he's not a perfect quarterback, but the offensive coaching staff at A&M, they've got a plan for him. They know how to use them. And it doesn't seem like it matters who's at quarterback for Hugh Freeze. He's going to ask them to do the same thing. And at this point, I think that's a little concerning.
Yeah, and that's almost in hindsight. You look at what Colin Klein's doing as the OC at A&M, and he's got carte blanche because Elko's a defensive guy, but you almost look at, should Hugh Freeze, and this is what's so hard for some of these head coaches because they've done it a certain way so long, is Nick Saban's turning point in his career was when he went out and said, Lane Kiffin and I are oil and water, but the game has changed. I got to bring in that guy to run my offense. Hugh Freeze, should he have had this epiphany in the offseason and went, as much as I want to control the offense, I need to hand over the reins to somebody else, let them run this offense, and I will be the head coach. And it almost looks like that should have been the move. It wasn't. And some of these coaches die on this hill. But we've done glass half empty, Zach. Let's do glass half full. When you look at this Auburn team, you said it on your show. You predicted these 3 games to be losses.
Correct.
Auburn can still turn this thing around and finish 8-4.
Right.
How do they do that?
Well, I mean, you got to have some sort of an offensive identity. If Jackson Arnold's the 10th best quarterback in the SEC, Auburn's undefeated right now. And Auburn could, if Jackson Arnold plays like the 10th, 9th best quarterback in the SEC, they could beat Missouri this weekend. Auburn's favored, which is fascinating. That's another segment worth it in and of itself later in the week if you want to do that, Gordy. I'm just blown away by it. But everything after that, like, I still think there are questions about Vandy with Pavia. You got to go there. Auburn's actually played pretty well in Nashville, so I'm curious to see what that looks like later in the year. And then you play Kentucky at home, and then you go on the road against Arkansas. And it's like, hopefully the offense will be able to score against Arkansas. If not, I do think you have some questions, or maybe you have some answers, honestly, at that point. So Auburn could still win out to the Iron Bowl, which is what I predicted going into the season. If they lose these 3 games, they went out, and then they lose to Alabama in the Iron Bowl. That could still absolutely happen. Do things need to change up to that point? Yes, they do. But to say that would be impossible, I think would be a little bit rash.
Hey, more with Zac Blackerby in just a second, but I want to remind you guys, college football in the thick of it, and we could not be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's nothing like it. But let's be real, getting actual tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping up at checkout. That is why we use GameTime, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans as the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. You can pull up the GameTime app, and in just a couple of taps, you will see some amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25. We use GameTime for a couple of games earlier this season. Super easy to use. You can even wait till the last minute if you want to see if prices maybe go down right before kickoff. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app today. Create an account. Use our code LOCKEDONCollege. Get $20 off your first purchase. Terms supply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download GameTime today. Here's the tough part, and we'll see. Hugh will speak to the media in a little bit, and we'll see what he says if they make any changes. But Deuce Knight, very highly touted quarterback that was brought in. It's the tough one, though. If you put a kid out there like that, he's going to have his struggles as much as he's going to have some brilliant plays. But it's the tough part of, the hope for the future is bright, so you put him in there knowing, hey, if he shows some promise, we get a lot of, we keep our recruits, we get buy-in, We show the administration, hey, keep me here. This is the future. We're going to build around it. That's the tough part is like, when do you throw the flag on this season and go, we're giving up on this season, but look at the future. The future's bright versus you finish the season with Arnold. He's just okay. You lose 5-6 games. And the administration's going, you know what? A change is needed here. That's what's tough.
Yeah, that's definitely a discussion that needs to be had, but I still think you're at this year. Auburn still go 8-4 this year, 100%. And honestly, I think if they were to get hot and going into the Iron Bowl, like at Jordan-Hare Stadium, like just who knows, right? You asked me to be glass half full, so I'll be glass half full for a second. I don't know if it makes – you've got to do what you think is the best decision for you to beat Missouri. You don't have to worry about next year's Tigers. Like, don't mail in this season yet. I mean, we all knew that the outcome, it looks worse than we thought it would, but we still knew that the outcomes of losing these three were certainly possible. Once again, that's what I picked going into the season. Auburn would lose these 3 games. If you go out and beat Missouri, all of a sudden it's like okay, like Missouri's a good team. They're 16th, right, this week. It's like, okay, that's a good team. It's your best win since A&M last year. I think A&M was ranked 15th when you beat them. Okay, cool. Then everything is winnable up until the Iron Bowl. If you could beat Missouri at home, I think you could beat anybody else on the schedule. We'll see what happens with Vandy. But I think if a quarterback change is going to be made, I think it would be Ashton Daniels before Deuce Knight at this point. Now, if they keep losing and then you go into I think it's the bye week and then it's Mercer and you want to make a change, you want to start Deuce Knight against Mercer and then throw him in the Iron Bowl, I think that makes sense. I don't think it makes sense to switch to Deuce yet. I think it was 2 weeks ago, they started giving Ashton Daniels second team reps over Deuce. I think the feeling around Deuce is like not quite ready for this level, which is what was kind of on his scouting report when he flipped from Notre Dame to Auburn, was like, it's going to take time, but once he puts it all together, it's going to be electric. I think he's still putting it together. So if a quarterback change is made, I would think it'd be Ashton Daniels, the transfer from Stanford.
See, I just wonder though, in this day and age, kids don't stay. Like so if you don't play Deuce Knight at all, he may never wear an Auburn jersey again. That, like, to me, that's the risk. That's the gamble there. Let me ask you this, Zach. They lose to Missouri this Saturday. Is Hugh Freeze the head coach on Monday morning?
I think it depends on what it looks like. My guess is no.
What's the buyout?
I think it's like 30 something. I'm not sure.
I guess in most Auburn fans' heads, Yellowwood heads, that number doesn't matter. It's about the program. And that's the tough part of this loss, Zach, is I could spin it and say it's 3 straight losses to top 11 ranked SEC teams, but also look at the numbers overall since he's been in the SEC. It's year 3 was supposed to be the huge step forward. And it's like you're just kind of spinning in place. Well, I think they said 9-9 at Jordan-Hare. Jordan-Hare's too good to be 9-9 at home.
Yeah, we don't deserve that. We don't. I mean, the fan base has been so, like, you can say what you want about Auburn fans, but they have been so remarkably loyal. And yeah, I mean, the product that they are given in return is just an absolute joke. I'm trying to find some of the stats that I've been looking at where, like, only 5 SEC wins in these, like, almost 3 years. It's just it's a disaster. 14-17 overall, 5-14 in the SEC, 7-16 versus Power 4, 9-9 at home, and you're 0-10 against opponents who finished the season ranked.
Wow,
it's not great.
That's, I mean, again, that's
and it's how you're losing these games, Gordy. 4th and 31 in the Iron Bowl. You got a 10-win or 10-point lead over Georgia, and you just fall apart against Brock Bowers. You decide you don't want to cover him anymore. The pick 6 against Oklahoma, the 3 picks in the first half against Arkansas, the 4 picks against Cal, with some of them being called back. You've got a great lead against Missouri late, and your defense falls apart last season. And then obviously, everything that's happened this year. It's just the way you've lost these games. It's like, at first we were kind of being cutesy and dramatic, but like they are literally finding a new way to lose every week. And you just can't keep doing that.
Last thing for you, Zach. This is just for bleeps and giggles, but
Great.
Hugh Freeze does let go. Who's on your top 3 on your wish list?
I think you have to have the discussion about DJ Durkin, promoting him.
Okay.
I'm blanking. I like the guy at Tulane a lot.
John Sumrall.
John Sumrall, like him a lot. Was previously at Troy. So I think he knows the state. The popular name among Auburn fans, and I would take him in a heartbeat, but I don't think it's likely, of course. But Signetti is going to be, the name mentioned everywhere.
Seems like Penn State. That's a perfect fit for him there. But
in a perfect world, I mean, you got to make Lane Kiffin tell you no again.
And he loves telling people no, apparently, because
I don't think he'll have a problem with it, but I still think you got to make him do it. Yeah,
it's wild too, Zach, because this might not be the season to have an open job if you're Auburn. Arkansas is already open. Penn State's open. There's going to be more big. We think Florida's likely to be open. Like, there's going to be some big jobs open, and so
North
you may
Carolina. I mean, they're going to pay somebody. Yeah,
you may not get the big name pie in the sky name that you want too. So that's the thing. If Hugh finishes, let's say 7-5, I think you're sticking with him.
And I think and we'll have this discussion later in the year, of course. But if he wins a few of these games to where you have to keep him, can you put because I think Freeze is good at most of the things that are asked of current head coaches. I think he's a great politician. I think he's a great fundraiser. I think he's really good at hires. And obviously he's great at roster management.
And a good golfer.
A great golfer. Sounds like he puts his time in. He's not a good play caller or a good offensive coordinator anymore. And he wants to do both. If he truly went CEO, said, "Hey, DJ Durkin, you're good. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to hire a young, up and coming, exciting offensive coordinator, and I'm just going to kind of manage. Probably play more golf this way." I think Auburn could be competitive, but I don't see him giving it up.
Yeah, this feels a lot like, I think back to 2016 Les Miles, where they told him, "Dude, you got to bring the offense of the 21st century."
A way to bring LSU in. It's unbelievable.
I'm thinking of the parallel. The offense was atrocious. Les Miles always had great offensive lines, good run game, but the offense, they had no quarterback play. They said, "Bring in a new offensive mind." He didn't. It led to his downfall. That stupid game at Auburn where they thought they won it, but they didn't, and whatever. That ended up being his last game. But Ed Orgeron gets the job. He puts Steve Ensminger at OC, and what does he do? He goes, "Steve's kind of old school. Let's bring in Joe Brady with some new school mentality." And what happens? Of course, 2019, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Jordan Jefferson, Justin Jefferson, all that stuff happens. But like, it almost feels like this is that moment for Hugh. Like, if he gets another chance this season, next season, playbook has to be out of his hands, has to be on a young, up and coming mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. I think a lot of Auburn fans would, but I wouldn't hate that at all.
No. We shall see. He is Zac Blackerby, host of Locked on Auburn. Zach, always appreciate the time, man.
Hey, thanks, Gordy.
Our thanks again to Zac Blackerby. Before we get out of here, guys, did want to take a look at the latest Heisman odds. And this thing is wide open, but on 3, they put up their Heisman Week 8 poll. They've got Ty Simpson at Alabama sitting atop their leaderboard. Then you got Fernando Mendoza over at Indiana, number 2. Ruben Bain and Carson Beck, both at Miami at 3 and 4. Ole Miss's Trinidad Chambliss at 5. And then coming in at 6 and 7, you got Dante Moore at Oregon and Marcel Reed at Texas A&M. So of interest to SEC folks, Ty Simpson, quarterback at Bama, Trinidad Chambliss, quarterback at Ole Miss, and Marcel Reed, quarterback at Texas A&M. Again, this can all change week to week. If Ole Miss loses to Georgia this weekend, and A&M maybe lays an egg on the road at Arkansas, those guys could drop out of it. But Ty Simpson seems to be pretty solid so far. 3 straight ranked wins over SEC opponents for Alabama, and Ty Simpson playing pretty flawlessly. So he is the favorite. Right now, we'll see where it goes the next couple weeks. That's going to do it for this edition of Locked On SEC. I'm Chris Gordy. Thank you guys so much for making us your first listen every day. And hey, a reminder, we mentioned it earlier, if you live in the area of the states, Alabama, Louisiana, or Mississippi, you get the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. We air daily, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 11:30 p.m. or 11 a.m. Central on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. We'll encourage you guys to check us out there. I'm Chris Gordy. This has been Locked On SEC. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.